Welcome.
Let me see. Yeah, thanks. I've been watching your channel for years,
No
to be
way.
honest. Yeah. Way
You're
back
so
when you did
quiet, dude. Like, no, I'm
reviews
not
and
talking about right now, but I'm saying like you never really. I didn't really know until recently that you were, part of our viewership, I guess.
yeah, I'm not really extroverted. I'm really more kind of in my own
Yeah.
area, so that's what I like about Discord is I can talk to so many different people without ever having to actually talk to them,
But like get in person, right?
yeah, all those servers and different rooms and stuff. So I like
Yeah,
to, it's more
exactly.
personal that way too.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm finding like this well, gaming for sure. Like gamers, you can be
Hmm.
very um anonymous pretty much. Like you just kind of live through your character or socialize almost through your character, whatever game you're playing. You don't even have to wear a headset, um, and then, like you said, Discord, you can be a part of conversations without the social, like physical interaction.
Yeah, it's a whole different, I guess, generation of just interactions.
Sure. Well, I mean that part of it, I feel like, see, being my age, coming up the way I came up, I was kind of there was all this conversation when video games first started becoming very popular and social media. Well, social media was, that's way more recent. Video games and talking online and chatting online and forums and that kind of thing. That was in the '90s, late '90s, early 2000s. Was
Hmm.
becoming very popular, and there was always people, like a lot more people, I think, back then, especially the older generation, like my older sister's generation, like 10 years older than me, or that generation that were like really resistant to, like, oh, this is damaging, this is really bad for people, like you need to interact face to face, and there is a benefit to that for sure,
Yeah,
being
yeah, there's a lot
around,
of value in that, definitely.
right,
But
but
the way the
doing
world is
like
now,
this,
it's
socializing this way and on video games and all the things that we're doing now, it really feeds that need that we have to be around people. We still feel connected even though we're
mhm.
not face to face, so it's fine.
Is this, have you started recording or how does this usually work?
Yeah, I started recording, man. I
Okay.
start recording like right away because
I
I don't
thought
know
so.
how, I never know how the conversation is going to start out. So I already have everything ready, and then I start recording. And then what I do is I usually cut it from the part that I say welcome.
Hmm.
So unless there's a long conversation that has nothing to do, like if it's, it's just kind of like an icebreaker kind of thing, like we're just talking about work. Like when I did the podcast with the guys in California, the team called Shogun, we talked
Yeah.
for probably 10, 15 minutes. And then I, and I cut that out, and I actually put it on our YouTube for members, just as like a behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I start recording right away and then see where it goes from there, because almost everyone that I've had on the podcast, it's my first time talking with them, voice to voice, I guess. And then
Hmm.
my first, it's usually their first time on a podcast. So, it's, I don't like being stuck on a format. I like to just have a casual conversation. And there's other
Yeah, just an
formats out
open
there
just
that,
discussion kind of.
yeah, it's an open discussion. Uh, so I don't have this, hey, part one, let's go, what's your call sign? What's your name? Go over the history of that. And then
Yeah,
step
it's
two,
really
this.
informal.
I don't. I don't work well that way, honestly, like in just in real life. And I'm like, it wouldn't come natural. So I would have to force myself to kind of do that if I was doing it on here. It would be really, I feel like it would be awkward for me because I'd have to, it would sound weird,
Yeah, it would
you
sound
know?
forced. Yeah,
Right, right.
sure.
So anyway, so yeah, man. So is it Jefe Airsoft?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Um, and from what I understand, and you can fill me in on a lot of this stuff, is you do some pretty badass custom builds. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I never heard anyone describe it that way, but yeah, I guess it's
Okay,
pretty
well,
accurate.
I know you don't. You're probably pretty modest. So you do custom builds.
I do a lot. I The
Okay.
custom builds are easiest to market because they're the flashy, exotic things that get a lot of likes on Instagram and stuff. So it's that's a bigger part of what I do, and I think it's more enjoyable for me because it's cool just to have all these random parts put together in different combinations and see what people like, and that's the most marketable way. But I also have a whole store, so I have BBs and like guns and gear and everything. I recently just started doing events.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Like you're setting up to host an event?
Yeah, so I started in October was my first one. It was a zombies theme event. Let me send you the link to it.
Okay.
So basically, I started watching like the Swamp Sniper channel and
Mm-hmm.
his insane, his insane events. Like he does a really good job with his rule set and his games that he makes.
Right.
So I thought to myself, I'm pretty far away from Virginia, so and I'm sure most of the other audience that watch that channel are far away too. So I just want to bring that experience to a different audience, just people who won't really ever be able to go to the Rev events or the his super awesome like Western events and stuff. So
Right.
I just wanted to bring that just to my area because it's a lot of fun. It's a different it's a different class of airsofters because you have the serious hardcore milsimmers who do like the 40-hour ops, and then
Mm-hmm.
you got the speed softers who do the tournaments and stuff. So this is like in the middle where
Yeah.
you're out there, you're playing airsoft, and you're just doing it in the way that you like, and you're not forced to follow the extreme rules. You don't have to do the whole 40 hours events. That's not a lot of people can afford that. Like the tickets are expensive, the gear and the travel. Then also it's like a full weekend, so not everyone can just spend a full weekend doing that. So I wanted to be able to provide like just like a snippet or like a glimpse of an experience that you can't really get anywhere else in just like in the middle area. So Operation Hades, what I just sent you, is kind of my take on the Swamp Sniper zombie series. Um,
Yeah.
I
I got it pulled up right now. You can't see it, but it's actually on the screen right now.
mhm.
The picture you sent me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
go ahead.
Extreme Rage Sports Park. Where's that at?
So I'm in like Fort Lauderdale metro area,
Okay.
Florida. So Extreme Rage Sports Park is a paintball park in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
So I have my own online store. I don't have a physical location or anything.
Sure.
So I was just looking around at places to host events, and this paintball park is closer to me than the other places, and they don't really do airsoft. So I just spoke with the owners and asked them if I could rent it out for any period of time, like if they would let me do it during the day or after hours or whatever.
Yeah.
So we worked out a deal where basically the park closes at like 5. So from 5 to like 10 is when I can rent out the place to do airsoft stuff.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
in October, that's when we did the zombies theme, pretty much the same rule set as the Swamp Sniper
Yeah.
series. Um, just like an immersive Walking Dead style situation. And I had my own little twists in there and everything, and it was a lot of fun.
So you guys already did this past October.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. No shit. Okay.
yeah,
Well, so when you started, how did you get all the NPCs like or I guess they are players, zombies, right? How
yeah.
did you get
So
everybody to show it? Like, what did you post about it?
it's really hard to start like a new event company, I guess,
Right.
because you got to build that trust, and no one really knows who you are. They're not going to know this venue either, so they don't have much to go off of besides the rule set. So I would type up the rules, make all these cool flyers and stuff, and infographics, and really spend a lot of time just DMing people on social media and sharing the links on Facebook, and just trying everything I can to share the content, to share the event, because eventually someone's going to see it and say, oh, I think my friends would like this, and they'll show their friends, and that just kind of like a snowball effect. But it's really hard
Right.
to start, and I didn't have a lot of luck. I planned it for like 100 people to show up,
Yeah.
and we got like, I think 20,
Oh, okay.
which, I mean, we only had to pay per person and not like a flat rate, so we didn't take a loss or anything, but it was
Mm.
still cool to see how the event still worked great with the 20 people. I mean, obviously, the more people, the better, but I think everyone still had a great time.
Yeah. Well, the podcast I did recently with Milsim or Nomad Milsim, I
Hmm.
think, is the
Yeah,
event.
I've been
Did you?
talking to him the past year or so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you probably know then. Well, I had no clue. Uh, because I've never really talked with anyone that started hosting events. So I didn't know. I mean, it made sense when he said it. I just had never thought of it that, some of these fields are, or most fields are really hesitant because, like you said, if you can't guarantee how many people are going to be there, like how much the field's going to, like you're going to have to pay them or, working all that out for a field is, I think, probably the most difficult thing for
Yeah,
event coordinators if you don't have your own land. Now, Balahak, he's got his own place like that. I think that was just his property years and years ago, and he just started building on it.
yeah, he's got a really good setup going. He got a huge map, honestly, with different towns in his property. Like it's a pretty sweet setup,
Right.
and that's perfect for these style events.
Yeah. So is this something? Well, are you? How long have you been into airsoft?
Um, I mean, on and off for like 13 years. So I
Oh wow.
started
Okay.
like most people in your backyard, just
Right.
with like Walmart guns and stuff, and you'd shoot each other in the woods, and just we loved Call of Duty and stuff. So it was kind of like another way to play Call of Duty, I guess. And
Well, sure.
a lot of YouTube. I think our first channel I watched was I think it was like Crazy Man in the Mask or something. But
What?
there's like
What is
this
it? For
rumor,
real?
Eve like Matt.
Yeah.
Like, there's this rumor that he had a YouTube channel. Like, I guess it would be like 10 years ago now. But he would make these really funny videos, and he would promote like insanely hard. Like, just really, all the videos are taken down and the channel is deleted.
Oh
But
shit.
he looks, he would always wear a mask. I think it was like Idiot in a Mask or something. But he would always have this mask. He would make like the dumbest jokes and do the dumbest things with the airsoft guns while also just saying go to eblake.com, blah blah
Oh
blah,
my god.
and stuff like that. And he got really popular. And then kind of faded away from airsoft for a little bit, and I came back just to look at his channel, and it was gone.
Mm.
But there were like glimpses of his like back of his neck and his hairline and stuff, and you can kind of
Oh
see the
right.
similarities to if you look back at younger photos and videos with like Matt in it. So like, that's really what kind of got me into it.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
And then I've been
I had
watching your
never.
channel too. You did unboxings and reviews and all that stuff.
Right.
How come you
Yeah,
guys
no
stopped?
kidding. Our channel has really morphed, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
a handful of times. Well, I feel like it's a lot of times, but it's really only once, twice, I guess, because unboxings, reviews are pretty much, and then gameplay is pretty much all fairly normal for a airsoft channel.
mhm.
And then, but the podcast thing, which I'm sure you've heard, most people have heard how it started. So it was, it just it changed a lot, and I really got to shout out before. I need to shout out all the people that supported us in the beginning when we were doing unboxing and reviews, because kudos to them for sticking with us, sticking with our channel from all the different changes we went through, and now if they're still around with the podcast, then even shout out to you, because I know when somebody finds a channel, especially like ours, where you're used to watching these unboxings, and I feel like ours was some of them were pretty exciting because we had so many people involved. It wasn't just one person or two people. It was
Yeah,
four
you
of
guys had a
us.
whole group.
Yeah, and
You get
sometimes
a
six of
different,
us.
yeah, different style each video.
Right. So I feel like hopefully I haven't disappointed anyone along the way with changing to this podcast. It's really just something that came out of I guess necessity, and then to put videos up. But then for me personally, this is something I found I didn't know until I started doing it. This is something I found that I really enjoy. Like, this is my thing. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at like I said earlier, I'm not good at following like a podcast format. Um, and I've gone
Yeah,
through some
but you're
transitions
good
with
at
that.
talking to people and just
Oh,
getting to
thank
know
you.
them. So I think I try to listen to some of your podcasts. They're just really long, and I don't have a good
Oh, they're long.
attention span. So it's hard for me
They're,
to sit down and listen to those longer ones. So I'll just skim through them and listen to some snippets of them. And
sure.
you seem to got a good thing going. It's been you're doing it for like a year now. Looking
Yeah.
back,
Thank you. Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you checking out our channel in the beginning as well. From the beginning. So yeah, me and the boys have talked about, like, over Christmas time. We talked about getting together, doing a unboxing again, and then it just kind of faded away.
yeah.
We haven't talked about it again yet. So I do. I am going to travel this year. Not travel, but I am going to get around and to a couple mil sims and meet some more people that I've had on the podcast.
Where are you based out of right now?
South Carolina.
Okay,
Yeah, Greenville, South Carolina.
it's not that far.
No, from you guys, I'm not sure about Fort Lauderdale. It's probably around 8-ish hours
Say a little
drive.
more. You go to the Third Coast Airsoft events, right? In like in
GTI, yeah.
Georgia and those, yeah. So I think that's 8 hours.
Okay. So it's probably 10 or 12 then,
Yeah.
because my cousin lives in Florida. He's in Ocala,
Mm.
which I think is about in the middle of the state.
Yeah.
and and so I think it's about 8 hours for him to drive up here to visit.
Yeah, that's 3 hours northwest, so right in the middle.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Now, are you from Florida originally? Did you grow up there?
No, I'm from New York, upstate New York.
Oh shit. Okay,
So, um, I moved down here after college because I was just really sick of the cold weather.
bro, for real.
Yeah, I heard I saw some of your past episodes. You were in like Wisconsin or something, or
Cleveland, Ohio. I grew
Cleveland.
up.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cold there too. So
yeah. Hell with that, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it either. We got up this morning and it was there was frost on the car windows. I was
Mm,
like, God bless it. Can we just not, okay? Like, stay around. If you're gonna get cold, 45 is fine, but just don't be freezing shit. All right.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I was really well, I went to school up like on the border, basically of New York and Canada.
Yeah.
So it just got super cold there, and
No
I just
kidding.
was like, I was really sick of it. So I just like was only applying to jobs in the South region. And my girlfriend was like, "You should look at Miami area." So I was like, "All right." And then next thing you know, I'm getting a job, and we packed up the car and drove down, and
Oh shit.
now we're here.
Oh, that's cool. What did you study in college?
So I have like it's like a dual degree. It's engineering and management.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I don't really know what to compare it to. It's just a general engineering degree and a general business degree, kind of
Gotcha.
together.
So what kind of I'm not familiar with, like, I know the specific kind of engineering, right? Like civil,
Hmm.
um
Yeah, the different disciplines of.
right, chemical, what's the other one? Mechanical engineering.
There's tons. There's so many out there.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
So the general one, what is that?
So
Like,
I guess
what do you
it'd be
guys learn?
closest to mechanical engineering.
Oh, okay.
Um,
A lot
but
of math still.
oh yeah. So I hate math too, but I got through it. So
Nice.
my like focus area was in like supply chain and project management.
Oh shit,
So
yeah.
I kind of dove more into the business realm versus the engineering side.
Right.
So then I got a job doing supply chain for a pharmaceutical company down here.
Right. Okay. Man, that is something that's like the unsung hero kind of thing with that field, because logistics is one of those where it's super super important that things are correct and it runs smoothly, and
Yeah,
nobody ever gets credit for it. You
yeah,
only
exactly.
get or you only get hate when it screws up. So it's not like you're the face of a business or a category of of jobs or something. Like you're kind of like the nameless, faceless behind the scenes
Hmm.
cogs that are working overtime to make all this stuff run smoothly, and never get credit for it. you know.
Yeah, exactly. And when something goes wrong, it's they're all looking back at us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
Okay.
I
Well,
I
I had
like
a
it.
go ahead.
I like it a lot because um, my position with supply chain is more of the supply chain of information.
Mm,
So I basically relay all information from every department, and so if someone needs to know specific things,
mm.
I'll compile it all and I keep track of all the data and everything. So I'm like a central
Wow.
hub of information for the whole company. So I basically am forced to know what's happening in all the areas. So it's really cool to see that versus like if I was just in manufacturing or QA, I would only be focused on those that smaller scope versus
Right.
the supply chain. You learn the full business from the sourcing the materials all the way to distribution to the customer.
Holy cow, bro, that's a lot. Like pharmaceuticals, you're sourcing materials for the stuff to be made, or
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
really?
yes and no. So
Okay.
the procurement department,
Right.
which is just purchasing, they're the
Right.
ones who are like getting the stuff and like sourcing the stuff.
Right. Right. But
But
you have to
we're
make sure all that
really
information is entered
right.
or
They got
kept
to
up
know
on.
when to
Yeah.
buy it and like how much and
Gotcha.
stuff like that. So
Right.
it's like production planning and scheduling, really.
Now, what are those? What are those systems like? What's a common system that that kind of stuff runs on? Is it AWS or no? We had a AS500, I think. I worked in logistics years ago, just for about 6 months, and we had a inventory system that we had to run in the warehouse, and it was on one of those handhelds, uh, and it ran on AS500. What I think that's what it was called, but and I guess that was a pretty common thing that a lot of companies used in for warehousing type of logistics stuff.
Yeah. I mean, when I had an internship for like a food logistics company for frozen
Yeah,
goods, they used, I'm pretty sure it was really close to what you just named, AS 500 or something like that.
gotcha.
But my company, we use SAP
Oh,
as our
SAP, right?
as our ERP system.
Yeah, dude. I tried to learn. Well, I did learn it. I had to. That was another one. When I worked in a shipping department for another company um, a long time ago as well, and that was we used ASP or SAP, and I was like, "What is this?" And man, it was a super powerful tool with a lot of features on it that I was there a little while, and I still didn't learn everything on it. It was a
I
lot.
think it's really good and it's also really bad at the same time.
Yeah,
There's a lot of tools, like you said, and it can do a lot of good stuff. If it's not done properly, it can really mess up your company.
right.
So it's important just to know what you're doing. And when I first started, my boss, she was like a wizard. She's been doing SAP stuff for like 20 years.
Oh
So
wow.
basically my whole life. So whenever there's a problem like anywhere in the company, everyone would just go to her and she would know exactly what to do. So she's kind of training me on being like a super user. So everyone can come to me and
Yeah,
I can help them out with their and also good experience to know because a lot of companies use SAP.
right. Yeah, they do. That's yeah, I forgot about that one. Well, when I started learning all these Microsoft tools, um, a long time ago, Excel and um, PowerPoint, and there's one they had a data entry one that's on Microsoft Office. I don't know if it's still on there currently, but gosh, what was it? Um, anyway, it was kind of like a maybe like a a bad version of SAP, or a real basic dumbed down version of that kind of thing. Data entry with a lot of drop down boxes, and you could customize
Yeah.
certain things. But it was
Was it
built.
Smartsheet?
No, this is before. Uh, this is before that. It's probably not even on Microsoft Office anymore, to be
Yeah, it's
honest.
probably before my time.
And yeah, dude, it was. I remember I was just really curious about a lot of computer stuff when I first started working on computers. Myself, me and my buddies built our own gaming computers back in the late '90s, and so just learning all these different things with that. We were trying Linux. We would partition our hard
Hmm.
drive and put Linux on one part of it
Yeah,
and
I'm
Windows on
on
the
Linux
other.
right now.
Are you really?
Well, mainly because my laptop is just like a bunch of spare parts put
Yeah.
together. So I got a computer for school, and then over the years I would break it. And going to engineering school, all my friends just had the extra spare computer parts laying around.
Mm.
So when something breaks, I would put it in. And one time I accidentally wiped my hard drive.
Oh
I don't
shit.
know how. I really don't know how. So it must have been like a magnet or something. But I go to turn my computer on, and it's just like the screen's all black.
Yeah.
So we had to put a new one in, and my friend just booted it up on a flash drive and gave me like a $2 version of Linux that I've been using since. Works just fine. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, I keep getting this notification right now on my Windows update thing or whatever that it wants to update to Windows 11, but I don't have, I'm strong enough, powerful enough. I think it's the processor is what's lacking. And I'm like, I'm not upgrading this thing right now. So I don't really care if I have the newest version of Windows. I mean, what I'm doing right now, this works for what I'm doing, you know?
yeah, yeah. Especially like some updates will just eat up your storage too,
Oh, for sure.
for just stuff you don't even need.
No, it's stuff you don't need. That was one of the things when we were building our own computers back then, Dell computers was just starting to become popular. And I remember it was the big hype for kind of mainstream people that didn't know how to build their own or, didn't know. Like, I bought a Micron. So Micron, I think, got bought out by Alienware, who builds
Yeah.
really badass PC or gaming PCs now. Well, I bought a Micron bare bones version. So, and then I put all my stuff in it. So all my friends and family, not my gaming friends, but coworkers and family and stuff, they were starting to buy the new Dell computers, and then like 2 months after buying it, they're like, we'd be talking if we were, over for a cookout or something. They're like, oh, my computer's so slow now. And, I feel like it's this and that. I'm like, let me look at it. And I remember looking at the first couple of Dell computers that friends and family bought. And it was, when you go in the background to see what is starting up on startup,
Yeah.
there was so much shit put on there that was unnecessary. I was like, what the hell? So I started doing some research on the forums back then, and it was Dell made the reason they were able to mass produce, like put out that many computers on that kind of scale,
Hmm.
was because they made contract deals with all these software companies to put in all this
Oh yeah. I
small
forgot
amounts of
that.
software to run in the background to collect your data.
Yeah.
Just like traffic, like what you did. We were still on dial-up internet.
Oh wow.
Don't laugh too hard. It was, dude, for real. Like you see those old movies where the modem and the telephone line and everything.
Yeah.
So we were still on that, but anyway. But so I was like, that okay, now it makes sense why this is happening. My mom did the same thing. She said, I want to get a computer, and I said, let me build you one. I can build you one for cheap. It'll run really good. You're not going to do much. All she wanted to do was get on email. And this is after my dad died. My dad died suddenly. He was a tree fell on him, actually.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was freak accident. And my mom and dad were together 42 years, I think.
Wow.
And so about a year after is when she started talking about wanting to get on this email thing for her church group and all this. I said, let me build you one, because two of my sisters had gotten Dell computers and a couple friends. And I was like, they're shit. Okay, don't get
Yeah,
one.
they're garbage.
And it really is. I was like, you're paying, and they were selling, they were pretty expensive at the time because of the name was starting to become, like a brand name. So I said, I can build you one for half the price. It'll run way faster for what you need it for. So anyway, she bought a Dell. And I said, didn't I tell you not to? She's like, well, you're not my parent. We were just joking
Yeah,
around. And I was like, okay, you watch and see. So like 3 months later, of course, the first, I'm teaching her what to do. I'm like her tech support. So, and then 3 months in, 4 months in, it's just so slow. My computer's so slow. I said, what
yeah,
did
it
you
just
download?
crapped out.
She's like, I don't know, this butterfly background. I said, oh, good Lord, it's malware. Get out of there.
Yeah,
So, well, I like the butterflies. I'm like, do you want a fast computer or do you want the butterflies? Because you can't have both. She said, oh, I like the butterflies. I said, okay,
she
and keep
likes it
them.
better than the fast computer.
Oh my God, it was so funny, dude. So anyway, but yeah, that was the I was studying all this stuff to try to learn, I was really fascinated with all this data entry stuff, whatever. I tried using Excel uh, like 3 or 4 years ago,
Hmm.
or not tried using it. I started, I've used it for
So learn it.
years. Yeah, I tried learning it, right. And once I delved into videos about it, I saw how powerful of a tool it was. I was like, holy dude, there are
Yeah,
so many tools you can do with this. But anyway, so you do a lot of that kind of work
yeah.
with data
Pretty
entry
much
and
every
stuff.
day I use Excel and SAP.
Hmm.
And what's funny is in school, learning Excel and SAP, I hated them.
Really?
Because we used the older version of SAP, which wasn't really user friendly, and we were just following like a step by step guide. So we weren't really,
Right.
we were just going through it, and I just hated it. And Excel, remember how I said I had the Linux
Uh-huh.
computer? So I couldn't use Excel because I didn't have the Microsoft package installed.
Oh
So I
shit,
was
that's right.
just kind of
Yeah.
like using like a cheap Linux version
Yeah.
of Excel, and I was trying to follow along the best I could. I just really couldn't do it, and it was my last semester, and it was during COVID, and I was just trying to
Oh,
pass the class, but
right.
I hated those two softwares, and now I use them every day, and
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Well, I was gonna say it's probably it's a different different perspective because you're not just following orders like or like you said, we're going through the motions basically, and that's really not the fun part. The fun part is exploring.
And
Like,
yeah, and
oh, I can do this and I can do that,
having to
and
actually solve problems.
right, yeah. Now, do you find yourself like are you does that come naturally for you? Does your brain work like if then statements? Do you does that make a lot of sense to you, like how those things work?
Um, I would say I don't know. Um, I would say yes,
Yeah.
to an extent. Like I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a wizard by any means, but I think in high school I did a lot of coding and basic
Okay.
level coding and some robotics and stuff, and I thought it was awesome. So I understand what it is and like trying how to read it, but that's really the extent of it. Because I started school as a computer engineer,
Mm,
and the first class I couldn't even log on to the computer because you had to like open the program terminal thing and like type in a line of code just to open the login. It was just too confusing for me,
yeah.
and I just knew right then and there I probably shouldn't be doing computer engineering. So I know enough to talk about it and look at
Right.
it, but not enough to do it. And that's kind of what my major is just know enough about a lot of different things.
Right.
That's what the
Yeah.
management aspect is just to know enough about it to tell people what to do.
e- Exactly. Well, a lot of those tools now are built in. There's a lot of coding packages. A line of code now that's written for, let's say, for a website like web design would look way different. Or I guess it would, the same line of code or the same characters, maybe the same length of characters could do more now than it could back in the late 80s or early 90s. Because I think they shortened a lot of these strings that we had to. I learned like very very little, but I remember having to put in, and I don't know the names of these keystrokes. Okay, but the little arrows, right?
Hmm.
The greater
I don't
than
know
and
what they're
less
called
than.
either. Yeah,
I think.
those. I call them alligators.
Okay, so we would have to put break or page break or line break or something break. Christ, I can't remember. One of these guys that I met years ago helped or he built a website for me back when you had to actually literally build the whole website.
Yeah.
And this is probably 18 years ago. And he was teaching me as he was going. So I learned very, very little in that time, in those few months that we worked together. But it was interesting. But it just amazed me when I first learned it how many lines you had to type to do one little tiny
Hmm.
basic thing. I was blown away. I was like,
Yeah.
bro.
It also depends on like what the language is, because some languages are
Mm,
just depending on what you're doing, obviously, but
yeah.
some are better for different tasks than others.
Maybe that's what's changed mostly. Maybe the code is the same, like in the back end, but maybe the language is, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That, because there's what, C plus or something like that, and I don't even know. What were they teaching you in school?
Um,
Was it?
in high school, for like the
Yeah.
basic robotics, I did like C++, which
Okay.
is like a bare bones C
Mm,
plus, basically. And then in university, I'm pretty sure it was C, but like it was so different than what I was doing. And everyone else in that class had been coding like their whole lives.
oh my God.
So it was definitely not an entry level class.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's good that you figured out, hey, this isn't something I'm going to enjoy doing. Because if you don't enjoy the process of learning whatever it is you're going through, then it's just like, dude, don't
Yeah,
force yourself.
that was me with math. I just thought it was dumb because when you got to like the higher level maths and you spend like 5 minutes on one problem only to get like number zero,
Yeah.
I was just like, what's the point of this? Like, it's
Oh,
just all that work just to do essentially nothing, or you're just writing the
right.
same thing 4 different ways. So,
Yeah, I hear you. So how? So you went from New York to Florida. Now, were you active in New York with Airsoft, or did you really take off more when you got to Florida?
so when I was younger, I played a lot of airsoft in. So I was from Syracuse, which is in the middle of the
Mm,
state,
hmm.
and there's a field out in like Rochester called River City Airsoft.
I think that's where
Um,
King Lobo. Okay, I think he's
yeah,
around that area.
it's a pretty popular field. It was really fun. It was my first outdoor field. Me and a group of friends, we loved it, and it was far away for our. We were young, so we really couldn't drive, so we would have to have our parents drive us. And it was like over an hour away, so we really couldn't go as often
Mm,
as we liked.
right.
But as we got older, we were able to take ourselves there, and then eventually we went out to Buffalo Battlegrounds. In maybe like 5 to 8 years ago, it was a lot better than it is now because it was a lot bigger. But they chopped it up to me like a Nerf field, and they added like arcade games and like axe throwing. So it's more of like an entertainment place now
Oh,
versus
okay.
just an airsoft place. But that's where I started.
Yeah.
Is those two places. And then I would do Operation Bad Blood. I think I did that twice, 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Um, and then I went to deeper I got into high school, the less I played because I also did a lot of other sports too. So I really didn't have time. And then
What kind of
pretty much
sports you
didn't
play?
play. I did mainly hockey for like 18 years.
Ice hockey.
Yeah,
No shit.
yep.
Okay.
And then I did lacrosse. I did rowing, a little bit of volleyball, tennis. I
Damn.
tried cross country, and then
Yeah.
I would also work out like 3 times a week. So there'd be a lot of overlap. So I was super just doing one thing after another.
Very active.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, man. Hockey. Okay. So you started that when you were little then.
yeah, like just before kindergarten.
Now, was your dad, he was a hockey fan or did he play hockey before?
Yeah, my whole family played hockey before. I When he asked me, I was just young. I didn't know
Right.
what I was getting myself into. But um, we went out there. We skated, like the learn to skate. So you'd have all the gear. I didn't have a hockey stick for like the first 2 years of my hockey career because we didn't do anything with the stick. We just did like skating, like
Yeah,
footwork and
drills
stuff like
with.
that.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, I was just like something to do. And then the older I got, the more competitive we got, and we got pretty good. It was fun, but got to a point where it was more competitive than it was fun, and
Mm,
just kind of the fun for me fizzled out. So I just kind of
yeah.
just went through the motions the last few years. But
That happened with me with baseball. I loved baseball. And then when I was 13 and 14, I was on a traveling team, a tournament team. So we played as soon as the season would start in May or whatever. We would play a game on Tuesday, a game on Thursday, and a doubleheader on Saturday every single week. And then we would
wow,
practice in between, even on Sundays. So for 2 years during the season, of course, we start practicing like in April or whatever. It was 7 days a week baseball
yeah,
for that whole season, and I was so burned out. And unfortunately, it's like if it's not really your thing, if you do it like that much, then it does lose its fun.
yeah,
The fun part goes away. It's like it just became work, and I didn't like it anymore. But I went from that into I was playing football since I was in fourth grade, and then so I went from baseball into wrestling. Yeah, so it was. Yeah, I did the just the three basic ones like that, but that's what happened. I didn't get burned out with football or wrestling, but I did with baseball because it was so much.
yeah. If you do it too much, and it just starts to get, I guess, too routine and not really fun, and more like work, like you said, versus like a hobby or a sport. It just kind of
Yeah,
takes away from it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
So
that's good though. There's so many people I've talked with that I'm really surprised to find out that they did not play sports growing up. That are into airsoft now, and it just I think it surprises me because airsoft is such a active sport,
yeah,
and they're adults. They're in their 20s, and they're like, yeah, I never played sports in high school. I'm like, what? It's just strange,
yeah. A
like
lot of gamers really.
right.
That's kind of what appealed me because I'd like to play Call of Duty, but I didn't like sitting still on the
Uh,
couch. So I picked up
are
the
you
airsoft
still
one.
kind of active like that? Like your job, it sounds like you have to sit or stay stagnant for a while, right? Like
Hmm.
stay in one spot.
Yeah. So when I first started, I asked my boss to get me like one of those
Stand up desk.
standing like desks like that they go up and
Uh-huh.
down. But yeah, I'm pretty much in my little cubicle all day,
Yeah.
and I get bored pretty easily. So I had like a stress ball that I squeeze, and I had like a fidget spinner, and listen to like lo-fi beats in the background, all while doing like three other tasks at the same time. I'm pretty sure I annoy my coworkers just by standing up and down every like 45 minutes, but I get the job done. So
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm the same way. I have this desk I'm on now, where my monitor's on, is one of those desks that goes up and down. So there's times I've actually done it on the podcast, not so much lately in the last month or so, but where I can't sit anymore, and so partway through the cast I'll just be like, hang on a second, and I'll just stand up and kick my chair out of the way because I get tired of sitting.
yeah, yeah. To circle back to your original question about
Yes.
um, how like if I was more popular in airsoft in New York or
Mm-hmm.
Florida. So basically, once I graduated from college, is when I had more free time. So I was living back with my parents, and I came across all my old airsoft stuff. So I started selling it just so I can get new stuff.
Yeah.
Then I traveled a few times to Buffalo, then down to EMR Event Park in like northern Pennsylvania. Played a few times there, but really what I was doing was just buying and selling online. I started like with my old stuff, sold it all, then bought I think it was like a Scorpion Evo, which is my all time favorite gun. And then I had some
Sure.
extra money, so I had just bought like mystery boxes, like every other YouTuber, and just started doing um, like unboxings and then selling it on like Hop Up or whatever.
Right.
And I just kept rinsing and repeating. And then when I moved, kind of like my YouTube channel took a hit because I wasn't really doing it consistently during the process there.
Right.
And then I kind of had to get settled into the new place and new job. So my whole lifestyle really changed. So I couldn't really keep up with the YouTube. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had to go find like airsoft places down here. So after I started playing down here, I was still buying and selling online, and I just kept doing it like a ridiculous amount of times, and then eventually I was like, I need to start my own website because I have like a room full of stuff,
Yeah.
and I was banned from Hop Up, so I was left with just Discord, and a lot of
You were
people
banned from
didn't.
Hop Up.
Yeah, there's a
Why?
whole.
I didn't know people could get banned from Hop Up. I don't know much about
So
Hop Up, to be honest.
I don't like it
Okay.
because it was good,
Yeah.
and really it was good until it wasn't, like most things. But
Right.
so it's just like eBay or a Let It Go, just specifically for airsoft stuff. So
Yeah.
the idea is great,
Yeah, because
and
we actually sold a couple things on there before
yeah,
when we
so
were doing the mystery box. Yeah. Okay. So
it's effective because people are there to
yeah,
buy
just for
airsoft
that. Yep.
versus like just eBay.
Uh
So
huh.
I started, just selling the mystery box stuff on there like everyone else. I started engaging with other airsofters in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what they didn't like was drop shipping. Um, I didn't always drop ship, so I would just buy like a box of like replica red dots and EOTechs and stuff like that.
Mm.
I would sell those with the guns or separate or whatever, and they didn't like. So I got a warning because they didn't like. One of the rules are you have to have the item physically with you to sell it,
You have to have what?
like the item with you. Like you can't like drop ship. Like you have to physically have the item in your
What? That's
possession.
weird.
Yeah, I
That seems like a
understand
weird
it
rule.
for like scammers, but what I was doing, it didn't really fit their rule set.
Yeah.
And then what they also didn't like was I was selling like the replica EOTechs, and that's obviously trademarked, but logos weren't in photos I was using,
Yeah.
and they warned me again to stop, and I said no, because I did it with reason. I didn't just say it to be a dick. I
Belligerent. Yeah.
just because there was a lot of other users who were doing the same thing,
Mm.
and they've been doing it, and they haven't been banned or blocked or anything.
So
And
so wait a minute. You couldn't sell a name brand red dot or something? Is that what?
they were like from AliExpress. You just buy like flashlights and pec boxes, and
Yeah.
so they didn't like that. But it
Because what's the rule now that you were
was
breaking?
like copyright or something like that.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it was whatever. It's their rules. It's their platform. But what bothered me was the other users who were doing it were premium users, and I was like a regular free user.
Yep.
So when they warned me again, I said no, because users X, Y, and Z
Mm-hmm.
have been doing this for looked like several months and are still
Mm-hmm.
active on it. And I've only been doing it for like 2 months.
Wow.
And then they just banned me like immediately after
Okay.
that. So
I'm wondering if that's why if that's happened a lot because I've heard I haven't heard much about Hop Up.
mm,
Like somebody's opinion about it, except maybe two times, right? I've heard a couple of different people say, and one of them was actually, or one time I heard it was actually at the last milsim I was at, just staying around talking with a group of people, and somebody brought up Hop Up as a platform to, buy and sell or whatever, and some other people were like, "No, man, it's trash" or whatever. Uh, and so I'm not sure if it was. I didn't know the context why they were saying it, but I'm wondering if that kind of thing happened enough to where that's where maybe some of the
I
negativity
think
started coming from.
there was a lot of reasons people don't like it, and that's kind of how we got into Discord.
Mm,
Is I was talking with some of the other users who were really popular. So there's like a community tab setting where you can like make a text post.
mm,
People can like upvote it and download it, and users would be like ranked based on their upvotes and downvotes. So I would just be talking with some of the more upvoted users, and they were having similar issues with like scammers or the hop up staff not enforcing the rules on
gotcha.
premium users versus the free users, which was the
Mm-hmm.
reason I was arguing with Hop Up and a bunch of other just like knowing things about the app. But then one day he got banned too, and he started his own Discord server, which is called, let's see, Airsoft Underground. So that was like my first ever Discord server I joined, and let me send you an invite.
Yeah. So I mean, oops. Okay, it's a video. Okay, cool. Here we go.
So yeah, this guy, his name's John. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure his name's John. It's been a while since we talked, but
Okay.
he started this server, and he wanted it to be Discord or a hop up app. People would just go there to buy and sell, and it would be
Ah,
free, and it would be, you know, equal for everyone to use it, and the rules would be
right,
evenly enforced for everyone. So it
right.
was a great idea. It grew pretty quickly, and then I got some more traction buying and selling, and then in the same time my YouTube channel was growing, and I started my own server, which is now pretty big. I think. Are you in my server? Let me see here.
Um,
It's pretty big. It's almost 1,000 people.
where is
Here, I just sent you the invite.
what is this
So
dot?
I started my own server,
All right,
pretty
hold
much
on a
based
second.
off but just more focused towards my channel. And then from there, I just kind of kept buying and selling, and now I'm here.
Things to do
So
here. Okay, here we go. Oh, nice. Okay. Hell yeah. That's wild. That yeah, the hop up thing, and then you can use. I mean, Discord has a lot of tools.
yeah,
So, and they're
and it's
always
free.
updating. Right. And it seems like, you're not, you can pretty much talk however you want, like with back and forth with people or what, topics or whatever, like it's not as, at least I never experienced anything where negative,
Mm,
posts getting banned or whatever, if I create a channel on there on the server, anything that gets posted or whatever,
yeah, yeah. With
for
Discord,
the
like
basics.
the company itself is pretty laid back when it comes to your servers. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, they don't really let you
Right.
do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
in the beginning days of my Discord experience, it's just got a lot of like negativity and like toxic people, which really just kind of made it hard to just get into Airsoft because if you're new and you're in these other servers,
Yeah.
they're they're just they're just gatekeeping and they're just like roasting you for not knowing anything, or they're saying your gear sucks, or just like general toxic behavior.
Yeah.
But that's like killing the sport because if I'm new, my only interaction is these toxic kids roasting me for being new or for having like Walmart guns, then you're not going to want to keep playing. Because you're
Right.
like, if this is how everyone is, then why would I want to keep getting more into the sport if it's going to keep being this toxic?
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks when it comes to Discord, but
Yeah,
you
that's true.
just,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
you
just
just,
people.
yeah, gotta filter those people out. And I think my server's pretty positive now. It's a pretty safe space. Really, there's all the toxic people either are banned or they just left because when I first started, it was like the Wild West. Like everyone was just saying anything they wanted, and it got pretty heinous. So then we
You
had some
get the
drama and
did you
just
get do you get the people that, and I don't know if they're real humans or bots or whatever, but somebody just starts posting like one word 100 times. Like I'm not
yeah,
sure what that is, but I've had it on ours a couple of
there's like
times.
different ways you can like raid someone's server.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's like a bot that'll do it, and they'll post like an invite link to like a scam server or like
Mm.
something inappropriate,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll post it in every single channel
Mm.
and just like blow up your server. Or they'll do something like they'll type a message like you said, and they'll just copy and paste it, and it'll grow like exponentially.
Yeah.
And they'll keep copying and pasting it and copying and pasting it, which is really hard to delete because the delete option is like at the top of the message.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's insanely hard to get there if you're on your phone too. And eventually, if they do it enough, they'll freeze the whole server, and it's really annoying. But Discord now they have like auto mod features
Mm-hmm.
and like anti spam features, which they didn't have like 1 to 2 years ago. So
Gotcha. Well, that makes sense because I think that's why we haven't had too many issues lately, because that was our main issue, where that what you just said, those two things basically, and it was over a year ago. And I remember the one time it happened, I got a message on my phone from, because I turned off notifications on my phone from Discord because everyone's chatting back and forth, whatever. So
yeah,
I got a message from somebody. it was a DM on Discord, and I would get the notification for that. So somebody was like, "Hey man, do you see what's going on here?" I was like, "What?" So I went into the server, and there was like one person had joined, or this person had joined, and then they started posting in like the general chat. I don't even know, like hello, or something just non-threatening or whatever. It was just basic, but it was just the same word over, posting, 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 and then it seemed like a bot because when you looked at the thread, when somebody else typed in like "what is going on" or something like that, or "what the hell," immediately right after they hit enter, this thing would keep going. And I was like, "What is going?" Like, you keep scrolling and scrolling. I said, "Man, I don't know how to fix this. Can somebody please do something?" So I had, we have, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 moderators on here, and they go in and do all their shit that they know how to do, and it fixes it. So I'm like, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. Um, and then we had this one guy. He was really helpful. He set up the server. He set up all like the security features and like when you enter, you have to like read the rules and like react to a post and stuff and
Mm.
different things like that. So he did a really good job of setting that up, but he got to a point where he was like micromanaging everyone and
Yeah.
enforcing rules like it's like just for no reason, just to different people, and it got really crazy. And then he left, and he would have people come and like try and raid the server and stuff.
Oh gosh.
It was really just really
Yeah,
annoying. But
that's not good.
yeah, if your server, if you have moderators who know what they're doing, and then your server is really going to be fine from like those spam attacks. But
Right. Yeah, it's worked out pretty good so far. So it's somebody that's on here on our Discord for a while, long enough to where they've interacted and we feel like we know them, then if they want to be a moderator, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And I'm like, please don't screw up the server. I'll just shut it down, okay? I'll just turn everything off. I don't care. There's only like one, maybe there's 2 people that I've given full access to that I trust, and then everyone else that's a moderator just has like they can do everything except lock me out. You know what I
right,
mean? So yeah. I was like, because this is what I use to for a lot of people for the podcast. I'm like, what would I do if I try to go in and somebody just locked me out? Like, shit. I guess I'd start another one or use Skype or something.
don't use
I'm gonna
Skype.
bring Skype back, bro. Okay,
Don't, please.
dude,
It
come
needs
on.
to rest.
So, what do you use? Do you guys use Teams at work or Zoom?
Yeah, we use Teams. Well, so everyone uses Teams except for our CEO. He uses Zoom.
Oh, okay.
So when we have like our big company-wide meetings,
Yeah,
the assistant will send out a Teams invite with a Zoom link. So
gotcha.
it's some people like who don't know how to work computers will open the team invite and start the Teams meeting and just be sitting there and waiting for
By themselves.
yeah.
That's awesome. They're like, I clicked the link. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Go to the other. Oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So
Well,
he's
that's like
special. He uses Zoom while everyone else is on the Teams.
right. That's funny. Yeah, my wife just said she works in a doctor's office. She said the other day, yeah, we just this year we're using Teams. We're starting to use Teams. I'm like, what? Weren't you guys using Zoom? She's like, yeah. Now we're using Teams. I'm like, okay. This is all right. This is like the Xbox PlayStation rivalry,
Mm-hmm.
like back and forth. So Microsoft apparently bought the rights to the hospital thing now, at least here in this area, for their office meetings. Because last year
Oh,
it was
okay.
Zoom, and now it's team. I don't know. I'm guessing. It's like one of those.
Oh,
How they have their exclusives. They'll pay for, and
yeah.
I'm sure Microsoft was like, we had Skype forever. It had all these tools, and then Zoom came out of nowhere and just wiped us off the map. What happened? So they're probably like, okay, we're going to make a new one. We're going to call it Teams, and we're just going to dominate and just pay for everybody to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Teams is great though. It's like Discord and Zoom together.
Really? I've never used it.
Yeah, so it's really like Discord. Honestly, like you can
Okay.
chat with people, direct message,
Hmm.
and you can call them obviously, and then you can set up calendars and stuff. So
Oh, nice.
it's pretty awesome. But I
Yeah.
think it's way better than Zoom because Zoom you just call people.
Right.
Teams is like you can do everything. You can just type message them or call or set up a meeting in your calendar and
Oh, so you can do the calendar thing? You can make a calendar
yeah.
in there? Oh,
Yeah, so like if
okay.
you use Outlook too, then it can sync with your Outlook calendar
Yeah.
and
Interesting. Well, you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to get my wife on opening up the calendar on her phone for the one I sent her, the calendar I use for scheduling all these podcasts because I'll ask her to schedule like our family stuff and put it in there so I know, we don't overbook, and because I don't like canceling on these. So unless there's like an emergency or like for us, wasn't it? Yeah, it was last week, right?
yeah, you had like some power
Yeah,
issues or whatever.
we had a major storm here. Yeah, so things like that. That's happened twice, and then two times I had to work late, and then two times has been family stuff. So my son last night needed something. So I try not to. Once I set something in the calendar, I try not to move it. And
Right.
so my wife now she's used to it. But the first month that she was like frustrated with this is like 3 or 4 months ago. She was like, "Well, I'm trying to plan stuff for this and for the family," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not moving my podcast. I already scheduled it, and I already told you about it. You didn't write it down." So she's like, "Well, what?" I'm like, "I'm not." Listen now. She still uses a paper calendar on the
Oh
refrigerator,
no.
and
Yeah.
she'll at the beginning of the month when she flips the page, she will that night she will sit in bed and write down everything in those little boxes for the whole month. Okay, her work schedule,
Yeah.
whatever she knows, she'll any other family plans that she knows ahead of time, people's birthdays. Like she's just old school that way. And I'm like, all right, I sent you a link to my calendar. Open it, and it'll update in real time. If I add something, remove something, it'll show up so you can see when I'm doing these things. So anyway, she doesn't like it. I'm like, oh my god. So now she told me she gets on her Teams thing at work, and so now that I know that they have a calendar feature in there, I might check it out and see what I could do to integrate that for her because yeah, make it easier on me in the long run,
Yeah,
basically.
that's what matters.
So so what are you? Do you do custom builds? I know I asked you that earlier. So because well, I guess I've heard of some other people have shouted you out, um, and I couldn't figure out if you were doing custom builds for them or you were just offering certain things from your store. I'm not sure.
Do you know who it was? Because I do a lot of things for a lot of
Oh, I
different
know,
people,
right?
so I
I
just
know.
want
Well, you're very connected for sure.
Yeah, I really like my whole goal was just to make a positive impact with everyone and
Yeah,
meet new people because this is our common denominator is airsoft.
right. Well, same here, right? Like,
Yeah, you
um,
do that with your podcast. It's pretty great. You
yeah.
do.
Thank you. Yeah, for somebody that for myself, I don't play airsoft. You know, so it's been it's been interesting journey, I guess, meeting everyone that is very active in airsoft. But so I don't know. I'm trying to remember what when I first saw, or maybe it was a post that you did where you were holding up a gun. Did you recently, like in the past few months, paint a gun, or do you do that?
Oh, okay. So I don't paint.
Okay,
I do custom builds, but I primarily do like AAPO1 builds.
gotcha.
And I think what you saw was there was this like rainbow heat gradient, like
Yep,
upper
yep,
portion that you can put
yep.
on. So
That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Uh huh.
yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones too. I actually sent you a photo of that in the chat. I just put it next to my dog. Once in a while, I'll do like my story. I'll just joke around that like she's the one that actually builds them, and I'll show her like with the tools and stuff, just holding the gun. But yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
I try to do those pistols because they're easier to do. There's less parts, and to me, I think I just prefer that style of gun. But in the past, I've done some AEGs and stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
I
So
really,
this is so the pictures you sent me. Is this your girlfriend?
yeah, I made her put some gear on and take some
Right.
photos of her for the website.
Oh, that's great, dude. Okay.
Yeah, so they got her and just some of the gear, and then see some of those pistols and stuff I sent you. Those are just some of the recent builds I did for
Okay.
people. My favorite one's that gold and black one that I just did.
Yeah, with the picture of the pistol leaning up against the wall with the patch in
Yeah,
front of it.
yeah,
Dude, that's an AAPL one.
yes,
Come on,
yeah.
that is wild.
It's getting crazy now. They're gonna be bigger than high kappas.
Really?
I mean, high kappas, everyone knows what they are. There's like an infinite amount of upgrade parts. But with the AAP, the base gun starts at under $100, like 99
Right.
bucks.
Right.
So you can get an upgraded AAP for the price of a stock high kappa or Glock or anything else. And now some of these companies are noticing that, so they're coming out with these crazy parts like that gold upper receiver part and that gold trigger, or the one below it that looks like an MP7. That's
Mm-hmm.
also an AAP. That's just a
Right.
kit that they put over it.
I have
So they're
seen
coming
that.
out with these crazy new parts for them that just they're easy to install. They're relatively cheap. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, with anything they can get more money, the better parts you can put in. But even just a
Well, a lot of
basic
these
upgrade
too
package.
are. I guess it's really easy to make. The 3D print parts for this for the AAP, and a
Yeah,
lot of people are doing that. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I just got 3D printed um, carbine kits from SRU.
Okay.
Let's see if I have any of those. But I'm also currently developing my own 3D printed products currently. So
Okay.
I'm testing them out right now. I have a short stroke kit for the AAP, and what's I think what's better about the one I'm making is that they're going to be in half sizes. So most the short stroke buffers are like 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, and like 4 millimeters.
Dang.
And they just go on like the guide rod and just decrease the length of the cycle. distance. So it just helps increase your rate of fire, basically.
Right. Yeah, I actually put a short stroke kit on. Uh, God, honestly, I can't remember what kind of gun it was. I want to say a high kappa, but I
Yeah, it
think
was
it was.
probably a high kappa.
This is
But
like
yeah,
2 years ago,
yeah.
or maybe 3 years ago, actually. A guy sent it to me. One of our viewers. Actually, if you watch some of our older videos, the video or the we used the tag in launcher and we
Hmm.
reviewed it. The guy that sent me that, Mark Patello, he when he sent that, he actually sent a pistol he couldn't get running. He had it custom built, and then it was he couldn't get it running. He's like, hey, and I told him I'd fix it for him. He said, while you're looking at it, can you put the short stroke kit in? So I didn't know what a short stroke kit was, and so I opened up the box and I take the pistol out and I look at this little bag. I'm like, this is a short stroke kit? I asked
Yeah,
my
just
son,
like
I was like, what is
washers.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's O-rings. I'm like, what? They're
Yeah, it's like
rubber
the
washers.
cheapest and easiest upgrade.
It seriously is. I was like, oh, that's all you got to do? I was like, holy shit. So there's a bunch of them in there, all different colors.
Hmm.
So I just tested it as I'd put in so many and then take out one or, because they're different
Yeah.
dimensions. So, or thicknesses or whatever.
Yeah,
But,
they're standard like hole sizes
yeah.
in millimeters. But for the ones we're making, they're going to be in half sizes.
Oh,
So you can get more
fine
in
tune it.
there and really get like as close to the BB as possible,
Right.
like so it can still feed. I mean, if you put in enough, you're gonna like sacrifice the bolt lock. The magazine's
Oh,
empty,
okay.
but
Right, right.
if you have like a drum mag or HP adapter, then it doesn't really matter. So you can get that extremely high rate of fire with these with the half size buffers.
Mm-hmm.
So it just helps you get
Yeah.
that extra edge everyone's looking for.
A microsecond or whatever you call it. It's
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So that's just one of the stuff. We're also making some other kits and like dress up kits and just other parts people to put on their guns.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I was looking at your link tree thing with all your links on
mhm.
it. So the best airsoft deals I'm thinking is your like that
Yeah, it's
brings
my
up a thing
store.
for your store, right? I'm actually going to share the screen. You won't. Well, you might see it, I guess. So you can see the screen even though your camera's on, right?
Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
And I'll just share this so whoever's watching can see. So this is your storefront.
Well, that's just like a snippet.
That's a
Yeah, click
snippet.
that. Let me
Yeah,
try
there we
and
go.
make this a little bigger. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so this is my
This is
website.
your actual site. Okay. Did you build this? You said?
So I use Shopify.
Oh yeah.
Not sure if you know. Yeah, so they let you just kind of drag and drop versus just HTML coding.
Wait a minute. I use Shopify. Um,
Yeah, I was looking at your website.
no, I don't use the Shopify for the website. I use Wix.
Oh, you do Wix?
Yeah, but
I was looking at someone today and they were using Shopify.
no, I use Shopify for the products on there.
Oh,
So on my
that's probably what I was
storefront,
looking at then.
the storefront is Shopify,
Yeah,
and I didn't know that you could do the website thing. Okay, cool. All right, so this is so you got unique events. Because you're was
yeah,
that
that
Saudi
was
event your first event?
yeah. So that was in
Okay.
October. Just this past weekend, did just click on right there the
Hmm.
Operation Clean House, the third one in there. And that one we just did this past weekend, and that one I think is my favorite because it's like a nostalgic search and destroy style tournament. So there'll be 6 teams,
Yeah.
and they'll just do a bracket of search and destroy, like back when you play CS:GO or Call of Duty.
Oh wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We only had um, 2 teams full of people, so we just did like a best of 5. But this
Yeah,
is the first year we did it. I wasn't really expecting full turnout.
that's cool, man. You got all the details on here. Okay.
Yeah, and I try to lay it out as easy as possible to read because I've seen a lot of like events and their rule sets are just like
Bro.
not good.
So, well, that's why I'm saying this because I've gone to these, when I signed up for Stonebreaker last year, almost a year ago, it was my first one. And when they were walking me through it, my son, and JP were here, and they were walking me through it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go with you guys." And they're like, "Really?" It was kind of spur of the moment that I
Hmm.
decided to go. And I was like, "All right, so what do I have to do?" So I was like, "Johnny, just show me what to click on. I don't need to read all this shit." Because when the all this stuff came up, it looked like a page from the Bible. The text
Yeah,
was super
just a
tiny.
just a wall of text.
Yeah, wall of text. It was not organized. There might have been like bullet point things, but they weren't separated enough to be able to read it clearly. It wasn't clean.
Hmm.
So the way this looks is definitely a lot easier
Yeah, I try to
to tell.
do a lot of just comparing to other websites and see what
Hmm.
what works for them and what doesn't.
Right. Well, that's cool, man. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Now, when you do your events like this, let me ask you something that I've talked to. Okay, the waiver is online and must be filled out. All right, so the waiver right here, and then the waiver right here. Uh, when somebody gets to the event, how do you do your check-in, your registration? I mean.
Yeah, this is something that we're still kind of developing because we've only
Okay.
done a handful of events, and it sounded like there was more than 20 people at each
Yeah.
event. So the way it works at this one field is we pay per person. So the agreement is everyone who plays will fill out um, a waiver for
Hmm.
the venue,
Right.
and we'll pay per waiver basically. So when they come in, they'll fill out that physical waiver. But the one you just clicked on, that's the waiver for just for my company,
Right.
because people
You have to
are
have both.
people. Yeah. So what I try to do is have them fill out the one online
Hmm.
before they come in, and when they get here, they fill out that physical one, just so we can hand it in to the field and
Yep.
pay.
That's what we
Um,
did at Stonebreaker. Third Coast Airsoft had, the event coordinator. I guess there's got to be a waiver for the event, and then
mhm,
one for the venue. So that
right.
makes total sense. But like checking in, right? Like that. There's somebody's got to streamline this stuff. I don't know how it
Yeah.
went for you guys, but there's got to be a easier way, man.
So the procedure that I've kind of developed, I mean,
Hmm.
and like I said, we haven't had big turnouts yet, so it's harder to test this out. But
Right.
so we have on our end we can see who's filled out the electronic waiver, and on our end we can also print out the I guess order confirmation or the
Mm.
packing slip. It basically just has like what they ordered on it and their
Right.
their name and address.
Hmm.
So we'll have that printed out, ready to go. We'll have um, it's like their package. So it'll have their slip, it'll have their bracelet, and if the event has patches or other cool things, it'll be all kind of bundled in one package. So when they get there, they say their name, and we pull out their package that has their name on it,
Mm.
hand that to them, and then while at the same time while they say their name, we check to see if they filled out the online waiver. Then they
Hmm.
fill out the physical one. all kind of in the same. So, and since there's like three different things that happen at the same time, they can kind of do the other ones while the next person's maybe filling in the waiver or checking it online or getting their packet. So there's like three things that can happen. So theoretically, three people could be doing a check-in all at once versus one at a time.
Oh, that's good.
So we'll see how it works with the bigger events, but
Right.
just kind of how we've been doing it.
Yeah, I wonder. So one of the events, I think I talked about it actually in one of the podcasts, where the Iron Dagger was pretty slow on one side. It was. I was really surprised for an event that size that they only had two people checking in 300 people.
Yeah, that's an
Uh,
issue.
yeah, that's an issue. So yeah, it's just
Yeah,
I
in
was
my
like, what?
opinion, as much
Yeah.
as you can have them do before,
Mm-hmm.
the quicker it'll go, like the online waivers. So,
Right.
say you have an event of like 400 people, you got to send out like a packet to each person and have them, do, if they're allowed to do the venue waiver
Mm-hmm.
online too, just have all that set before. So this time when they get here, we'll have a list of names for people who have done each waiver and people who haven't. So then that's like two different lines, which
Yeah.
automatically splits it. So that can work pretty well. But you can't have two people checking in 400 people.
Right.
It's not gonna go well.
Well, I thought, what? I mean, if it was me, I don't know the rules, so I'm not sure about if there are any kind of liability issues or whatever. But couldn't you have? Uh, can you have players, like participants in the game, sign up to do like this special thing, right? Like volunteer. So they volunteer to help out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to do that, they got to get there at, whatever the stipulation is, get here Friday at 3 p.m. Or 1 p.m., whatever it is. And then you're going to be in charge of, helping the registration process, check in and all that. And because you're helping us out, you're going to get something for it. So maybe you get a free tier 1 ticket so you can play Friday night's night game
Yeah,
instead of purchasing the extra ticket.
it's a
So
good idea.
that seems like something I would want to do if I was hosting an event, because, okay, how many people we having? Because they can see online. There's no, if you're selling tickets online, you know how many purchases you have before the event
Yeah.
starts.
One
So
issue is a lot of people buy like the last minute.
right.
That really messes things up.
Oh, I got you. I
Because
got you.
you'll have like, say you have an event for
Yeah, that's
like
true.
600 people,
Right.
and the event's a week away, and you only have like say 300 tickets sold.
Right.
Thinking, oh, we're not going to sell out, but then that next week you sell maybe like 150 more tickets, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to plan. So,
That's true.
so
Yeah.
I know some
Okay.
events do like they do an early check-in like the day before.
Yeah.
That Friday is the early
And it
check-in in
helps.
Chrono, and just kind of reduce the rush on the main day.
So I wonder if there is you know how have you, I don't know if you've ever been to a concert, like a music concert, but
Hmm.
the way they do it is you go online when you purchase your ticket for the concert. You do the waiver. They do the same thing. You have to sign a waiver for the venue, safety thing or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, and you do that in the or during the ticket purchase process. Okay. And what you get when you get your ticket is, just you do it all on your phone. It's very simple, like Ticketmaster or all these other places that offer rock concert tickets. You buy it, you have to agree to all these things first,
yeah,
and then you can get your ticket. And when you do, What you get, your ticket is that little QR code.
Hmm.
When I get to the venue,
You just scan it.
you
There.
hold it out, you scan it. Like you can screenshot it, you can do whatever. You don't have to search in your emails for it. Uh, you can screenshot it, save it right there, and then show it to them. They scan it, and when they scan it, it registers you as that ticket owner. It checks you in basically, and it knows that you signed the waiver and did did
Yeah.
all that process. And I'm going, like, there's a system in place already. Why don't these event coordinators use this system? It can't be that hard to
And my
set up.
girlfriend had the good idea of having it like just like you said, when you buy the ticket is like you're automatically like saying fine print like by
Right.
purchasing this ticket I automatically blah 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 like agree and
Agree
stuff.
to.
So
Yep.
and that's I'm trying to implement that, but the way Shopify is, it's kind of hard to
Mm,
kind of get like so say there's like a
yeah.
team and they buy like 10 tickets.
Uh-huh.
So if one person buys 10 tickets, then how can they agree for all 10 of those people? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword there.
Well, no,
You
you'd
have to
have to
limit it
make
to
it.
one per
You'd have to
person.
make, yeah, limit one per person. Yeah,
Yeah.
because of how that's set up. Yeah.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. I don't. Well, even when, let's see, I had some tickets given to me, and when they transfer the ticket through Ticketmaster, because you have the option to transfer. Uh, if somebody transferred it to me, which they did, um, I had to go through. I didn't just have that QR code automatically. I had to
Yeah,
go
you had
through
to
the
assign it.
process exactly. So it was built into the software. So that might be something to. That might be something that could work if somebody knows how
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
design.
I'm sure there's a Shopify add-on for ticket
Hmm.
sales and stuff like that. I can look into that for sure.
That might really help, man, because if your events, down the road, you get 300-400 people, because the way Airsoft is going right now, bro, it
Yeah, it's
seems like,
exploding.
yep. So I don't know if you heard the podcast with MK Airsoft up in Ohio. The guy announced on the podcast that he's opening his third field in the next few months
Wow.
already, and he just started his first field 2 years ago.
Wow. Well, hey, if he wants to do one down here, you can tell him to hit me up. I'm looking to go in with someone.
Oh shit, okay. I mean, yeah, he might be willing, man. He
Yeah.
said on the podcast, "I will never do more than 3 fields,"
Well, this would
but
be a half. And this goes to anyone else listening.
right. Well, the other thing too is, listen, whenever somebody says that, so if his 3 fields are running smoothly, he's the kind of guy that can't sit still either. Okay,
Hmm.
so he said, I said, what made you want to start your second field? He goes, honestly, boredom. He goes, my first field was running so smoothly, um, I wanted something else to do, and I was like, well, let's just go ahead. So uh, I feel like he's going to be like in the next year, he's going to be open to another
Yeah.
venture. You know, so if you look him up, MK Airsoft, his name's Gabriel. You can see him on. Actually, that podcast just came out this past Friday.
Yeah, I think I
So
saw that on your
yeah,
story.
so you can his you can follow his Instagram there or whatever, um, and chat through him through there. He runs the Instagram, so if you do message him, it'll be him that's talking with you. So, but yeah, that could be something that would be. I feel like there needs to be a better option for the safety brief
Yeah.
and check-in process.
Yeah, one of the worst things about events I think is just the waiting.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just things that can be fixed on the event coordinator side.
Is there a way to for the safety brief to for somebody that's been to that event or been to that event? hosts events, uh, is there a way to know, like, hey, I've been here 10 times. Can I already know the safety brief? If the rules haven't changed and the field hasn't changed, which most of the time it hasn't, can I just sign something that says I listened to
Yeah,
the safety brief? Like I
I
already
think
know what to do.
what would be feasible is like a quiz.
Mm.
Like, and if you
Oh, that's
fill
a
out
good
this
idea.
quiz, then you don't have to do the safety brief if you get like an 80% or higher,
That's a good idea.
something like that. Because I think that can definitely weed out all the veteran players and return players.
Right. That's a
Or
good idea.
have
Okay.
the safety brief like as a pre-recorded video
Mm-hmm.
and have that sent out and then they can just take the quiz there at the field.
Well, I know MK Airsoft, Gabriel, he does that. He has the safety brief on his YouTube channel, and he also has it playing at the field when people walk
Hmm.
in.
Yeah, I've
And
seen that
so
at a few
that
fields.
counts. Yeah. That's a good idea as well. Okay.
Yeah, saves
So
manpower too.
back to your site. You've got so you do the custom builds, you'll do the APO ones where you
Yep, and
do special parts on it.
I'll assemble it all for free. That's something that I haven't really found at other places. Is they'll charge you the labor, and I think
Oh,
something I'm really trying to go for is people who don't have that tech experience but want like a cool tricked out gun. Is well, I'll just put it together for you before I send it to you.
right.
It takes me like 30 minutes.
Well, yeah, you're very proficient with it now.
Mhm.
This is cool, man. Yeah, okay. Your website's good. You've got a lot of companies
Yeah,
you're working with,
I've come a
authorized.
long way from just selling on HopUp. Now I'm an authorized dealer of those brands, and I've met
Right.
a lot of great people along the way who have helped me out. So definitely didn't do it alone.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, I mean, you're building something. That's always, it takes a team. Even people that help indirectly, like your girlfriend. She's doing.
Yeah,
I mean, technically, it'd be like modeling for
yeah,
some of those
she's a
posts.
great helper,
Yeah, it's
good
good.
supporter too.
You guys knew each other in New York.
Yeah, we met at a party in college.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
bro. Good. That's like old
and
school. Okay,
yeah,
finally,
that's the way to
somebody's
do
met
it.
somebody at a in person.
Hmm.
Awesome. Hell yeah, that's cool. Well, good deal, man. I'm really glad we got to talk today.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous. I'm not that social, so I was hoping I could hold the conversation longer than an hour because I see your other podcasts are pretty lengthy. So I think I did a pretty good job.
Oh, dude, you've got a lot to talk about, man. You've got a lot of stuff going on. I don't really have a standard like okay, it has to be this long. If I look at the like what time we started, and
Yeah, it's just a natural
if
flow.
it's there, yeah, if the conversation starts to slow down, like we're not just like in real life, we were standing next to each other and we were talking,
Hmm.
and that like when you
Just
first meet
naturally,
somebody,
yeah,
yeah, and it gets a little like everyone like we both stop talking, and it's like uh okay, and then you just like, okay, I'll talk to you. If you're in a party environment or something, you just walk
right.
away and talk to somebody else, or hey, nice talking with you, and then you might talk later. But for then, that's kind of how I do these. I don't look at a certain time. If it's 30 minutes, it's 30 minutes. It's fine. If it's 45, I don't care. Uh, that I don't. When my butt starts hurting or when I have to take a piss, then I start looking at the clock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
You
gotta
know.
I gotta take my dog out for a walk pretty shortly, so
I
kind
gotcha.
of
Yeah, I was gonna say let's
wrapping
wrap up.
things up.
So tell everybody where they can find all your stuff. You got a lot of this stuff going on.
Yeah, Jefe's Airsoft Solutions.com is the main marketplace there. I'm pretty active on Instagram and Discord, especially. probably the best way to get a hold of me is in my server. Just ping me or DM me, and I basically just want everyone to be able to get the most out of the sport. So any questions, I'm happy to help, and I really don't want people to feel like they can't ask questions because they're not experienced. So I just want everyone to have a good time. It should be a hobby.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Jefe. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, you were awesome, dude. You're very easy to talk with. So,
And
yeah,
when it
not
comes to airsoft, I think it's pretty easy for me.
good. I'm
So
glad. All right, brother. You have a good night.
thank you. Yeah, have a good night, man.